The dream continues to haunt me, old friend. It always starts with a journey to a distant land.
Diablo IV's design director, Luis Barriga, famously stated that the game is being designed with a new mantra in mind: embrace the darkness.
They burn my eyes, break my bones. I awaken in terror.
But is Diablo IV actually dark enough to live up to its predecessors, such as Diablo II?
For when I dreamt, the memories would return. Memories of the monastery and the evil.
Will the story tone be able to match the horrors that befell Tristram of yore, or is Diablo IV just Diablo III with a darker color palette, as some fans have speculated? To ask and answer these questions, I've broken down what makes a Diablo game's tone and aesthetic feel right into 3 distinct categories: story, graphics, and musical composition.
You think me mad, old friend, but I know these dreams. They tell of the future. Hell is coming, brother. Hell is coming.
To understand Diablo is to understand terror, and there is no more terrifying feeling than hopelessness, something Diablo 1 and 2 captured so brilliantly. From your first tepid step into the lair of the butcher,
fresh meat,
to a small gasp of relief when you felt the Lord of Terror himself. But Terror's face has never been shown more so utterly than in one man's eyes, Marius of Diablo II.
Yes, it was the Wanderer.
Marius was the narrator of the game, yet curiously, he has no in-game model. Voiced by the phenomenal Frank Gorshin and unrecognizable for his days as the Riddler on the 1960s Batman TV show.
Bruce Wayne, the millionaire head of that disgusting, do-gooding Wayne Foundation. Delicious!
I believe that Marius was, for all intents and purposes, meant to reflect us, the audience, and humanity at large. A man broken from the horrors he experienced in the monastery, and he tries to stave off sleep with an opioid addiction to boot. Thrust into the machinations of the primevals, it's in his reactions, his eyes, his pain that we see their true power.
So, I've been searching for you for a long time, Marius. I was rather beginning to think you didn't want to be found.
Oh, forgive me, Tyrael, please.
Even angels flung poor Marius around like a rag doll, as humanity would be in this situation, more akin to a leaf in a storm than an overpowered god.
Fool! You have just ensured the doom of this world. You cannot even begin to imagine what you've set in motion this day.
I think that the most important facet Diablo got right was they didn't tell you that the evils were powerful, they showed you the horror through a human lens, e.g. Marius.
I heard a voice then, like 1,000 needles in my heart.
Until, of course, Marius did get his reward, circa Baal.
I'm glad this is finally over, Tyrael. Look what the stone has done to me.
You haven't failed, old man. You've done exactly as you were meant to do. However, I am not the Archangel Tyrael.
Well, no.
You have done well, Marius. Now I think you shall have your reward.
I've done
So how does Diablo 3 tackle story? Well, in the place of poor wretched Marius, we do have Leah, who in a somewhat retconned fashion was born of Diablo, bequeathing her a sort of royal status via birth. She also is respected by the fallen Tyrael alike versus flung around like Marius, and even aesthetically, she and the characters look more at home in a World of Warcraft cinematic versus the Burning Hells. It's this brightening of the story that Blizzard's quest for the over-the-top epic loses the humanity, fear, and terror of its predecessors. Gone is the leaf in the wind, desperate gambit of a few straggling adventurers replaced with the almighty Nephilim, warriors born to kill demons and angels alike, yet seemingly at their own whim. How can you fear demons if they should fear you? Thus effectively killing any pretense of terror, horror, and suspense.
Lilith.
Now, Diablo IV does look promising thus far with Lilith, who looks straight out of a Hellraiser movie. But will its story hold as much gravity as the older Diablos? Especially, how will they deal with the Nephilim problem? And as an MMO, it's easy to skirt over main storyline as you drown out the rinse-repeat of watered-down fetch quests. So, they do have a large task at hand.
Blessed Mother, save us.
There's no one left to stand against them.
In terms of graphics, Luis Barriga famously stated that the game is being designed with a new mantra in mind: embrace the darkness. Graphically, Diablo 1 and 2, of course due to their age, were more pixelated, but nevertheless they were always dark, brooding, gothic, and blood-infused. Something that Diablo 4 promises to be. Diablo 3, on the other hand, as its design was supposed to be epic on all levels, went into a highly stylized gore, with a light, bouncy color palette and bombastic graphics of enemies exploding in a comical manner to make you feel empowered as a hero, versus a singular man with a weapon and determination as you slog through hordes of demonic enemies. Upon side-by-side comparison, you can see the differences in tone for Diablo 3 and 2. However, the concern some fans have is Diablo 4 is just 3, turning the brightness down a bit. Looking at Diablo 4 and 3 side by side, it seems there may be just a little bit too much Diablo 3 over-the-top gore present, and indeed it does look like the same engines being used.
Why did I follow him? I don't know. Why do things happen as they do in dreams? All I know is that when he beckoned, I had to follow him. And from that moment, we traveled together east. Always into the east.
The music in Diablo 1 and 2 is easily considered a masterpiece. Dark, somber moods with horror-infused beats driving you forward, one disturbing inch at a time. Diablo 3, like its aesthetic, decided to be more quote-unquote epic, according to Blizzard. While boasting a gorgeous orchestral and sweeping cinematic score, it felt more in place for the high heavens and a hero taking on whatever comes at him than the burning hells. Gone are the ugly, putrid sounds and murmured cries of the fallen, the restlessness of demons scratching at the back of your mind, and despair of townsfolk transmuted into an unholy melody. As Diablo 3 was pretty upbeat and can safely be classed as more generic, belying Diablo's true nature, terror, hate, and destruction. From the small glimpses we've gotten from Diablo IV, it seems that they are going to harken back to Diablo II with the music, which of course is going to be a welcome return. But what are your thoughts? What makes a Diablo game a nightmare for you? And do you believe Diablo IV will find terror once more?
You think me mad, old friend, but I know these dreams. They tell of the future. Hell is coming, brother. Hell is coming.